Go into it. Just click open with Google. Oh, I see what you're saying. 'Cause otherwise, it's gonna look like. Try refreshing the page. This mouse is fun. Let's reference the pages in the book.
Well, for their stuff for me to keep on track, you know,
Sure. Yeah, our teacher pages.
Put it, you hit the little arrow right there.
Wait, this is it. We're here.
got it? We're live. Okay. Second half of today, session 6 is grow your database. So we talked about what a database is. We talked about what we're going to do to build our database. Now we're going to, or why we need a database. Now we're going to talk about how we're going to grow our database. So we're going to skip over our course review for today because this is just telling you the upcoming classes. So if you're coming in number 6, you've missed these first ones. The good news is that we repeat these every other month, and then you've got these other ones coming up. Today's agenda we'll go over in a minute. Who wants to read this for me from the one and only Gary Keller?
Your database is your business. Building up the number of names in it and a relationship with those names is really at the very core of what building a real estate business is all about.
Absolutely. So you will hear Gary Keller say over and over and over, your database is your business. Your database is your business. This is where your business lives. It's right here in your database. So there's all those little cute people in there. And you guys heard Jessica refer to your database actually equals your data bank. So every person that you drop into your database, like imagine you're putting a quarter in your penny, your little piggy bank. Every time you drop somebody in, you're actually building up your data bank. So you feed the data bank, you feed the database, you feed your bank account. So think of it as a data bank. We learned a little bit about that. So when we're looking at our data bank, remember that leads are people who have expressed interest in servicing or offering of yours from social media. I'm gonna pull this so I can see what they see. So that's a lead. We already talked about what leads are. Does everyone know the difference between a lead and a contact? Who can tell me? You should remember because we just talked about it.
Contact is someone you already know.
Yep. Two-way conversation. A lead is just somebody that's coming in, one-way conversation, right? So they've clicked on something and said, Corey, I saw your ad and I'm interested. They clicked on, hey, I want to have the same payment. Here's my rent. I want to keep the same payment and buy a house. They've clicked on something. They've had a one-way conversation. A contact somebody you have permission to have a two-way conversation with. Okay, database defined. So which part of the lead generation and database model represents your database?
Contacts.
Correct. So your database is the container that holds all the contact information for your leads and your contacts, okay? So a lead is somebody who has shown interest in your product that you're offering, and you have the right to a one-way conversation. Your contact is somebody that you're having a two-way conversation with. So the database itself is all about what? Relationship management.
I was gonna say staying up on top of it.
Relationship management, right? Real estate is a relationship business. Remember when I said earlier, even the relationships that you have with other agents, real estate is a relationship business. So remember, you're going to capture the leads. That's the very beginning of it. They're going to go into 2 buckets. They're going to stay a lead where you're going to try to form a relationship. Then they're going to become a contact where you're strengthening the existing relationship. And then you're going to cultivate the contacts for conversion. You're going to have interactive and needs-based offerings. We're going to talk about what some of those are. And then they're going to go to one of 2 things. They're either going to be new or repeat business, or you're going to get referrals out of them, or they're going to be new, repeat, and referrals, and then they stay back in your contact, right? So it's just constantly a little wheel that you're contacting people on. It's called the client and referral loop. Okay, so that's the model of what it looks like. So remember that a database is about relationship management. The database is the key to your business. So database helps you keep organized, right? Right now, if you only have 2 clients, it's probably going to feel like it's pretty easy to stay organized, stay on top of everything. As you get more people in your database, it's going to be harder and harder. So the database, the key to your database is it's going to help keep you organized. It's going to help keep a comprehensive record of communication and relationships through systematic communication. We're going to talk a little bit about that. It helps automate other tasks. You guys have all, I don't know if you have, but you will at some point read The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, and you'll hear about what they call in that book, the 33 touch, which is actually being updated to be a 36 touch program. That means every person in your database should be being touched in some way by you 36 times a year. Does that sound overwhelming? So do you remember that number that Jessica had you do on your phone? So that number is your potential out of your whole database. Now, if you don't do a very good job of nurturing that database, maybe only 20% of those are going to become your leads because you don't have time physically to touch 1,000 people 36 times a year. So we have to rely on our automated systems, which we can automate within Command. And then a well-maintained database holds value and can be sold if you choose to retire or close your business. Has anyone thought through that part of it? So one of the things that I think we do really good at Keller Williams, there's a lot of them. One of them that I love is actually teaching you how to operate your business like a business. Now, if you owned we're going to use your dentist friend. Just going to keep going back to the dentist. If you owned a dental office and you decided that you were going to retire and you had grown your dental office, you had a building and you had clients and you had all your stuff, are you just going to say, lock up the door, throw away the key and walk away for the rest of your life? No, you're going to sell your dental business. So when you're thinking of a database, I want you to think about the fact that most people in real estate don't really think about how am I going to retire someday. And I always tell everybody, I promise you that when you are 85 years old, you are not going to want to be door knocking and trying to figure out how to generate more business. You are going to want to hand your business off to somebody else and say, hey, I have a database that I've nurtured, that I can quantify the amount that comes out of it each year. And I can actually sell that to somebody else in the business at some point. And that now becomes my retirement. And there's a lot of different ways you can do that, but just be thinking that through. So every time you're adding someone into your data bank right now, maybe it's right now business, maybe it's 5 years down the road business, maybe it's retirement business, right? So just think through that. A good database really helps you be organized and run your business like a business. The comprehensive record of communication and relationships, we're going to talk about that a little bit on how we keep track of that. So an organized, smart database beats a notepad, sticky notes, any other non-automated system. Do you guys agree with that? So you guys see me like I write all my notes on my iPad. And there's also things that are like to do right now that you'll see me put on a little sticky note. You know why I put them on that that second? Because I put it on them and as soon as it's done, I take it and I toss it in the garbage. So something I know I'm going to do that day, but I need it right in front of me, right? That is an effective way to do something like that. That's not an effective way to do your database. So if I write a note that I get a lead and Allison wants to sell her house and I write it on a sticky note and it's got Allison and her phone number, and then I'm carrying the sticky note around and I forget at some point who even is Allison. Why do I have her phone number? Now I feel weird about calling her. It's not automated. Maybe I lose the sticky note. Maybe we talk and I set up an appointment, but I don't have any of this in a space to keep it organized. That what are the chances of me having good follow-up with Allison? That's not good, right? Like I'm going to have a really hard time staying connected to Allison if I don't do something to keep it systematic. So Command. I think some of you haven't actually gotten Command access or you're not in Command yet, but Command, for those of you that don't know, Command is our tech platform. So everything that you need for your business lives in Command. So quick little rundown, you've got your home base, which is where you're keeping track of your goals, your database health, you've got contacts, you've got tasks, you have smart plans, referrals, opportunities, campaigns, reporting, designs, listings, and consumer. So all of those things, it's end to end. We're not going to go deep into Command today. I just want to give you some ideas of where you need to go to be able to go into Command. But just remember, that's what all those things are. Command is your CRM, contact relationship management software. That's your CRM. It's where your database lives. it's your goal tracker, it's your task manager for all of those smart plans that you have set up that you need to contact somebody. That's where it's going to live. And it's going to give you a reminder. And if you don't have Command Mobile downloaded on your phone, download Command Mobile, because guess what? If I get an alert that it's quarterly call day and that I need to call Jess on this day, it's going to pop up and I'm going to see on my phone a notification that says it's time for a quarterly call. And if I just push call and I call her right from that, guess what it does? It logs that I called her. I don't even have to go in and relog it. Now I'm going to, because I'm going to go add notes from our quarterly call so that my next time I call her, I know what that looks like because you'll have a series of notes. But that's the other thing that the task manager does. There's marketing suite and then your referral network to connect with people everywhere. So that's what Command's going to do for you.
And is it Command where you, once you have a transaction going in your contract, you send everything to Command as well?
Yes, so all of your, all of your compliance happens in Command as well. So that's the opportunity pipeline.
Okay.
Yep. And then remember on our calendar, so if you're ever unsure of something in Command, there's a weekly training every single week, something Command related. So just make sure you add those into your calendar so that you can come to them, or if there's something specific that you need some help with, log some one-on-one time with Kylie using her Calendly. Okay, so the 4 laws of the database. There's 4 laws of the database. Number 1 is to build a database. Why do we have to build a database?
So that's your business.
That's our business. Our database is our business, right? Database, databank, it's our business. If we don't feed our database, what are we also not feeding?
Business.
Our account, our bank account. We're not going to make any money if we're not feeding our database. So we have to build a database. Number 2, what do we have to do?
Add to it.
Every single day. I do believe you should have goals around this. And again, I'm going to tell you the same thing I care about that I said about lead generation. I don't care what your goal is around it. I just care that you do have a goal around it. So that may be that you want to add 2 people to your database every single day. That might be 10 people. That might be 30 people. It depends on your goals, right? It is proven that if you get to 201 people in your database and you systematically connect with them, you will make like from Keller Williams International, it's about 3 times more than people who do not have 201 people in their database. Here in our office, it's 50% more. So if I have 201 people in my database, chances are pretty good I'm going to make at least double what someone else in the office that does not have 201 people in their database, right? Because that's the number, that's the magical number where you start to see repeat referral business. So we're going to feed it every day. Number 3 is we're going to communicate with it systematically. So it's a little rhyme. Build a database, feed it every day, communicate with it in a systematic way. Why does it have to be systematic?
So you can keep control and know what's going on every day.
Absolutely. And we're humans, right? So I'm going to talk to Dakota today, and in my head right now in that conversation, I'm like, there's no way I'm going to forget to call Dakota in 3 weeks to invite him to my SOI event. It was so cute to see him. And I want to make sure that him and his cute wife come to the pumpkin patch. And so I'm going to be sure to call him. What happens tomorrow? Like the minute I walk away from that conversation, you start to lose value of the conversation. And guess what? It goes both ways. This is why you need to communicate regularly. Because if I just see Dakota once a year and I never talk to him again, the minute that I walk out of sight from him, we start to lose value. Okay. So communicate with it in a systematic way. And then number 4, service all the leads that come your way. Okay, so those are the 3 or the 4 pillars of building a database. Before we move on, are there any ahas at this point?
What is AHA? What is that?
An aha is just something that you didn't know before. So you're in the class and you're like, ah, yes, aha.
And I like to think about something I'm going to implement.
Oh, okay.
Ahas, your nuggets, like whatever they are. I like to when I'm taking notes, because I do everything on my iPad, I'll like highlight. Like if I write something and I'm like, oh, I gotta remember that, I'll like write it in hot ink because then I'll like it sticks out in my notes. That to me is your ahas. Jess.
Just a question, you say service all leads, what exactly does the service, that mean? Like,
Service all the leads that come your way. So
yeah.
believe it or not, a lot of agents pay a lot of money for leads that they never do anything with. So that would be an example of not servicing the lead.
Yeah.
One common thing, I'll talk about internet leads. So very common, you'll hear people say, those leads suck. Or that lead sucks. You guys heard Jessica earlier when she was teaching say that most people, actually, I think it was only 40% even contact them one time. So they get a lead and they're like, I don't do it right now, or they don't do whatever with it, or it's not connected somehow, so they don't do anything with it. Or they try to call one time and they don't get an answer. When, how many times, do you guys remember how many times she said on average it takes for them to communicate and engage with you and to actually convert it? 12.
18 maybe was the time.
12. I think it's like 10 to 12 leads or 12 to 10 contacts. So that can be text, call, email, text, call, email, whatever that's what your system that you want to use is. But that's what that means, is service those leads.
Oh.
And there may come a point like in like whenever you're lead generating, right? There's sometimes that you're going to get leads that it's a fake email or it's a fake phone number or whatever. So that's a bunk lead and we get rid of it. But otherwise, we're growing our data. We're going to build it. We're going to feed it. We're going to communicate with it and we're going to service it.
Well, and also like if someone comes into an open house and they ask you a question, you're gonna follow up with them, answer their question.
Yeah.
Okay, so the first of the 4 laws is law number 1, which is build your database. So at a minimum, every single contact should have a name. You know, it seems crazy, but we got to know what to call them. So we have to have a name, contact information, and past business record. Now, this is if you've done business with them in the past. So those of you that already have business that you've done, you've been in real estate for a minute, you would want to have a record of that. Why is that important?
Reuse same people, or not reuse them, that came out.
But no, you want to stay in touch with them, right?
Yeah.
And
ask for referrals.
People move, you did a great job for them, so they're probably going to be a raving fan of yours, right? As long as you took great care of them and you stay in contact with them. And I do things like home anniversaries, right? So I have to have a record of when I sold them a house because I like to celebrate their home anniversary. Also, what do most people start thinking about 2 to 3 years into owning their home? They start either thinking about moving, they start thinking about some renovation, they start thinking, how much is my house worth now? So would that be valuable to know when they last bought their house? Because now you can give them an updated pricing on their house, all of those things. So it's important to keep a past business record. I'm going to add a little something here because I know some of you have come from other industries or other sales businesses or whatever. Make notes of how you knew them. That would also be considered a past business record. So if I had someone that was attached to my previous business, I want to make sure that I have a note of that in my database. Because again, when you have 20 people in your database, it's easy to remember every single person, what's going on with their family, how you know them, all those things are really easy. As your database grows, it's harder and harder to remember. And I think I have a really good memory, but even me, it's harder and harder to remember the things that you are specific to those people or how you know them, okay? So that's how we're gonna work on building our database. So we've already started doing, you should have already started doing this. We're gonna talk about the daily success habits, but one of those daily success habits, who can tell me what one of the daily success habits is that would add to your database?
Conflicts a day, something like that.
1051.
So you're having conversations every single day. Yep. So those would be people that you would add to your database. We're going to recommend using Command. Why? Because you're already paying for it and it's a really great system actually. So we're going to recommend that you use Command. If you have a different way to keep track of your database, that's fine. What I will tell you is a lot of times I meet with agents who have been in the business 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 years, and their database is like an Excel spreadsheet. That Excel spreadsheet cannot do much for you on an automated, it doesn't compare to something that's automated, right? I am a firm believer, we're going to talk about some smart plans. I'm a firm believer if everybody would just set their contacts up on a quarterly call plan and actually make the calls, you could triple your business overnight. And if you're brand new in business, you can definitely get to where you're excited about your business within a short period of time, just by calling the people that you already know in your database, okay? So the first names to put in your database are your sphere of influence. So as we're building out our database, that's where you're going to put it. If you need extra help, you can go here, but this is part of your training, but basically you're going to click on contacts and click add a contact. Super complicated. And then you're going to put their information in. So first, the first names that you're going to put in your database. So Jessica gave you guys an awesome little handout that has you go through and start thinking about people that you already know. Okay, so you're thinking about who are the people around you. Now, when you hear sphere of influence, I think a lot of times people like, especially if you're newer to the area, you sometimes think like, I don't even know that many people, right? So-and-so grew up here, they know everybody. I know a lot of people who have started from nothing and build a huge database and then start back over in a few years all the time if they're military and they move a lot, anything like that. But these are people just think outside the box. So people in your neighborhood, your coworkers, your friends, people that you encounter regularly. So if you go to a coffee shop all the time and Cafe Mercantile is your jam, and you get to know the people there, get their information. They become part of your database, right? So the basic set of information, you need to have their name, their contact, and any past record of business with you. And then you're going to add them into command. A couple of other things. What else? What other additional information do you think would be good to add into your database? So obviously on page 6.5 of your chart, it's already given you name, contact, record of any business. What are some additional things? And normally we break into groups, but for time, we're just going to talk about this together. So what are some additional things that we should be adding into people's databases?
A birthday,
Birthday, perfect.
dog's name.
Dog's name. Oh, if you remember my dog's names, you're my favorite.
Duke,
And Chris said date of
Did you
birth.
say Duke?
is it Duke?
No.
I have my parents have a dog named Duke. Somebody here has a dog.
D. Dash is my King Charles cat.
Somebody here
Dash.
has a dog also named Duke.
He's so cute, but. Dash I love. Dash is my King Charles Cavalier. If someone cannot tell me the name of my
Chris said kids' names,
kid's name.
where they currently live.
My other dog is Sunny, Sunny Bunny Baby Girl, the best girl in the world. What did you say?
Chris
Neighborhood?
said where they live.
So address is another good one if you've got it. If not, if they don't want to give it to you, at least like, oh, what area do you live in? Neighborhood, address.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So what if you have somebody like a contact, and you only have their address, or then another contact where you just have their phone number and email? Like, is there a plan that you know, that you can send to everyone? I mean,
Yeah,
Is that
so
right
I
in
think
the
that
head?
if you have their phone number especially, like some great ways to. What are you
What?
looking at?
Chris texted me the wife and the girlfriend's name.
Sorry, all their plus ones. Whether that's one or many, no judgment. I still sell houses all the same. Also, divorced people are my favorite because they get 3 deals out of 1. So I'm all about that. But
not about divorce
Oh,
or anything.
oh, no, I'm not happy about that. I'm just, if someone's got to help them, I want it to be. So that's if you've got their phone number, but say you don't have their email. So this is where your value piece is going to come in. What can you offer them of value? Because if you just call them and you say, I want to add you on to a list that I'm going to spam your email every single month with multiple things. They're going to say no. And obviously you don't say it that way, but if you're like, can I add you onto my email mailing list? I send out great things, right? But if you have a specific reason to call them, this is where I loved Jessica's video, because honestly, that's a conversation that I have a lot of like, hey, is there a piece of information that would be valuable to you to see on a regular basis in the real estate industry? I love the video. I think that like, so I do a newsletter, I do neighborhood nurture. So this would be where you would be calling and saying, hey, Corey, I noticed that I have your phone number, but I don't think I've ever gotten your email from you. I actually send out whatever, or I have a party coming up that I want to send an email invite, or occasionally I have discounted services through some of my vendors. Would it be okay if I add you on there? I promise you I'm not going to spam you with anything, and you're never going to get anything that is not of value for me, but would it be okay if I get your email address? Okay, if you have their email, but you don't have their phone number, sending them an email and saying, hey, I just realized I don't have your phone number. Also, if you're Facebook friends with people, this is a really great way to message, because direct messages people typically will respond to and see quicker than an email in today's world. It's similar to a text, in my opinion. So a direct message through social media would be another good way to connect with them and ask them a question along the same lines. Like, hey, I just realized I was getting ready to invite you to my client event for all my past and future clients. I was getting ready to invite you and I realized I didn't have your cell phone number to send it to. Can I get your number? Can I get your email?
That's a
Hey,
great.
I have a card ready that I was gonna send to your house for your birthday, and I just realized I didn't have your address. Can I get that from you? Also, there's ways to find that too. So birthday, dog's name, kids' names, neighborhoods, addresses. What else would be important to put in that
Does that say toys?
plus ones?
Plus one.
So this would be like spouse,
Uh,
girlfriend, like Chris said.
Anniversary,
Anniversary date. Oh, yeah. Because remember, we're in the relationship business, right? The home anniversary, if they bought a house from you,
Do you ever do when you sold the house anniversary?
you
sold-
could,
Okay.
you could, I mean, that one is like, so the way, so I still have those in my, so I have a couple people that have moved out of state. And it's weird to be like, happy anniversary or house anniversary, right? Because all the smart plans that aren't customized are set up to be like, congratulations, it's 4 years in your home,
Yeah.
right? But I'll set that up as like a reoccurring task. So instead of that, I'll send them an email or I'll call them or send them a card and say, oh my gosh, I can't believe it's been 4 years since you moved to Virginia. How's everything going? Right? So it's more of a reminder of what that is. And then also, you guys, this is where like Facebook, we're a little on a rabbit hole, but this is where Facebook memories, when they pop up, are awesome. Because a lot of times I'll actually reshare that, but I'll share it in direct message with them. It's like, oh my gosh, can you believe it? Seriously, it's been 6 years since
Oh,
you
that's a
bought
good
that
idea.
house. And then it's a picture of them and it's a little memory. Or post it on your story and tag them if they're okay with that, like whatever those things are. Can you guys think of anything else that would be important to note as you're building your database?
The last time you talked to him?
Do they rent or own? Yep.
Okay.
Last conversations, rent or own. Why is that important to know?
If they're renting, you wanna see if they
If
want.
they're renting, we want to help them figure out a way to be a homeowner. I know we hear a lot about interest rates right now, you guys, but rent interest rate is 100%. Literally 100%. So I don't care if it's 7, 7's better than 100% and then nothing that I'm ever gonna own. Right?
You're losing that every month.
Every single month. Yep. Their family members' names. So we said kids, we said dogs, any other family members. So the thing that I also like to note in here is how did I get in contact with them? So is this like my aunt's friend, right? So like their family members or contacts that are connected to each other. And then the other thing that I think is important here, remember we talked about work. Did you guys get Allison's email?
Yeah, I got it.
Can I erase this?
Yeah, I think so.
If you guys need it, she is, luckily for you guys, she's right there. But she'll let us come back, she'll let us ask her again. Another thing right here is your last board conversation with them. So if I'm making my quarterly calls and my last conversation with them was that recreationally, they love to go camping. And I had that call maybe in the spring, and now it's time for my next call and I'm calling them. And now we're getting into the fall. What is a great question I could ask?
Where'd you go camping?
Hey, I know one of your favorite things to do is go camping. What was your favorite spot this year? Did you get out in the fresh air enough? Right? So that's where those Ford conversations will come in. And you will be amazed, like Ford is your family, right? So, oh, their kid had a soccer tournament. You haven't talked to them for 3 months. And now your next conversation is, hey, how did your son do in a soccer tournament? Did they win? Are you gaining, and you know the kid's name? What? You're their favorite person, right? So just anything that you think through that you would want to do there. So other items to keep in your database. Is there anything else that you guys can think of?
About the business area.
Business, right? Occupation. This is from your Ford conversation. So yes, occupation. Hey, are you still a dentist? Are you still working at what's such and such dentist? What if you find out they moved? Oh gosh, I actually was working in Brigham City and now I'm in Kaysville. Well, do you think maybe they might want to live closer to work?
Mhm.
You can always follow up on their goals if you knew what their goals were. Like maybe they were going to put in a pool. You call to find out if they got their pool installed, or
Yeah,
a
how's your
pickleball
pool
court
coming along?
or whatever like that.
Hey, I know we talked last year about you wanting to maybe buy an investment property this year. Gosh, you probably have a lot of equity in your house. Is there a way we can utilize that to help you get your investment property purchased, right? So all of those things are important. Hey, you were training to run a marathon, right? Like you make those notes. One of the things, like I had a lady that they moved to Pahrump, Nevada of all places. Like they were so excited about it, and that's awesome. I'm so happy for them that they love it so much. But when they got there, they're so funny, and they really do call themselves like the crazy cat people. And there was a cat that was like a stray, and it was lurking around their house all the time. So then they just started leaving the door open. So for like a year straight, every one of my conversations was around the cat that they called the cat, because until the cat got to a place that it was like, now that cat's their pet and it has a name, And so every time I call, I'd be like, hey, last time we talked, the cat was coming in and out of the back door. Oh, now it's in the bathroom, right? So keeping track of those little things, just remember it's about a relationship. Also, as you're adding those notes, so again, you get a notice that it's time to talk to them or text them or whatever, and you do it right from your command app, it's gonna already log that you made a phone call. Now, you're just gonna go in and add the notes from your phone call. And also, if there's ever any follow-ups. So if I'm talking to Allison and she's saying, you know what, I actually was gonna call you because we're thinking about at the end of the season, we want to sell our condo or whatever, add a task to follow up. And follow up sooner than you think. So if she tells me at the end of the summer, which is, I mean, summer technically ends in September, right? I think it's the last day of summer. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna follow up with her probably more like mid-July. Hey, I know you said you weren't getting ready till the end of summer, but I want to make sure we have a solid game plan on what we can do moving forward. So I'm wondering if you have time to connect this week or this month or whatever. Okay, so set the tasks so you don't forget about them. Command makes it easy to build your database. So you're going to enter the contact. There's a lot of different ways. And again, we're not going to go into the weeds in command because that's a whole different training, but just know there's ways you can do a mass upload. So let's say that you are someone that's been operating out of an Excel spreadsheet. That's okay. We'll have Kylie or Scott, actually, I think Scott Lowry Marketing now does that for us, but we'll just send them your database and they'll just upload it all for you. And you can also do it that with all of their contact information too. So you can enter them one by one manually, or you can import into command using a template.
Did I show you? I can't remember if it was in Ignite or in coaching, or show people how to import from their phone.
Yeah, you did.
Was it here? Was it in Ignite?
Import the contacts?
Just right from the app. You just go to contacts and then click the three dots and it will say import and it will import them from your phone.
If you haven't downloaded the command mobile app, do it
Right now.
like right this second.
And I would recommend doing it from your phone too, because I did it from a spreadsheet. At one point in time, I can't remember, it's been a long time. But it didn't take all the information off the spreadsheet, put it into command. So I went back and did it for my phone and my database doubled. And I didn't realize, I thought that it had done it the first time from the spreadsheet that I downloaded for my contacts. And like half of them were missing. I didn't even realize. So.
Do they automatically merge if they have the same name?
I think they give you a notice that you have duplicate.
Yeah.
And it won't let you, like, if I tried to put in, because sometimes I run into this where like a husband and wife have the same email, it will say that email's already in existence. Pretty sure
Yeah, it does.
it does. And by the way, if you ever are frustrated, you're like, no, I don't, you may have archived that person and you still can't find your archives, but again, that's just another conversation. Just anything you have questions on tech, call us.
If you guys don't have access to command yet, in the recap email, I am sending out a spreadsheet so you can start building your database in that, and then Scott Ray can provide the command for you.
Add it in for you. Yep. Okay, any ahas on that section? Any little nuggets that we learned?
Just that, probably like house anniversary is a great idea for someone you sold. And some like, I guess you'd have to be a little Facebook stalker, but you could find out a lot of this information actually.
You totally could, right? And I know that sounds kind of creepy,
Unless somebody you
but
know.
like, especially if it's somebody that you know.
And you can look up people
Most people.
on the True people. There's a thing that you can go into called True People, and
Okay.
put the information, and you'll get back basically all of their information.
Yes, you can, and let's say that you get their main phone number and email. And you don't really know this person or even talked to them for a very long time, and all of a sudden you start sending them something every other week in email.
Right.
Is that gonna feel good?
No.
No. So I would say like, find ways that you can't, but if there's ways that you need to find them to get their phone number, you're like, I know so-and-so, I just don't remember. And I'm gonna go find them and get their phone number and I wanna call and connect with them. I would do that. I would say, and back to your like, you haven't talked to them in 10 years question. I think that it starts with like, nobody wants to be, we've all had that friend that is like, and I wouldn't even call it a friend. We've all had a frenemy. We've all had a frenemy that you didn't even really like that much. They didn't even really like you that much. You were not their cup of tea. They were not your cup of whiskey. And you guys didn't even like each other anymore. And then they're like, Rusty, how's it going? It's so great to see you on Facebook. Anyway, I'm wondering, do you have trouble sleeping at night? right? Because they're selling some lavender, oil, whatever it is, right? So I would say like, if it's been a long time, start with just rebuilding the communication a little bit. And I think a really easy way to do that is just like, hey, I've noticed that one of the things that's really important to me is my relationships. And I've done a really poor job of keeping in contact with people. And so I'd like to make sure that I'm keeping in contact with more people, because why? I know I'm going to do a good job for them, right? I'm going to bring them value. So I think you got to kind of layer that up a little bit. So if you're finding people on True People Finder, maybe just like ease into that a little bit. Don't just like hot and heavy set them up for your 36 type program.
Maybe like give them a
Start
couple
it out
likes
legal.
or like whatever hearts.
Start kind of like liking
Make
some of
a
their things, comment, direct message them on their birthdays. I get way more responses, by the way. I send direct messages on birthdays versus posting on their page. I get way more comments and it gauges in conversation. Because what's most, so my thing is I always ask them, I'm like, happy birthday. Are you doing anything fun to celebrate? Right? So it's not just happy birthdays. Are you doing anything fun to celebrate? So many people respond. And you guys, I've been doing birthday direct messages for years. And this year I changed it into the what, because I'm always like, I hope you celebrate all month or whatever, right? I have all these, I change it every year. Everybody gets the same message. But it's asking, do they have anything fun? Are they doing anything fun to celebrate? So many people engage that way. Now it starts a conversation, right? What's the really, oh yeah, I'm going to dinner with family and friends. Oh, that's awesome. Whatever you know about them, you're saying something else. What's a really like common next response? How are you? Is everything going? How's business? Right? So that's, again, we're off topic of database, but if you did learn something in that Facebook message and you don't have their phone number, it's a great place to ask for it. Now you add them into your database. Okay, we are moving to, next is feed it every day. So we learned the difference between prospecting and marketing. Who can tell me the difference?
Marketing, you pay for it, and prospecting, you work for it.
Yep, absolutely. And I actually think prospecting is usually faster. Marketing, you're playing a little bit more of the long game, depending on your market. Okay, so now you're going to turn to page 6.7 and the second last feed your database. And we're going to do prospecting and marketing to feed our database. So what does feed the database mean?
Add new people.
Adding people to your database, adding people, adding contact information, all of those things. Also in your database and command, you're going to see a health score. And it will tell you like how healthy is your database. The things they're looking at, do all of your database have a first and last name? Does all of your database have an email? Does all of your database have a phone number? Do you have an address? Do you have them set up on a neighborhood? All of those things are going to generate your health score of your database. So if your health score is low, you can look and see what areas you are missing, and you can actually filter it now by who's missing phone numbers, but they have an email for them, right? So you'll be able to go in and filter it that way to fill that in. So the first lot is, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Marketing works 24/7, prospecting only works the hours you work. That is a big difference with marketing. Marketing works 24/7.
That is true.
Even when you're sleeping, marketing is working.
Yep.
You don't know who's reading your Facebook, Instagram, whatever at night.
Exactly.
You don't know who's stalking you.
Everybody you're stalking, there's people stalking you right
I
back.
know some of your dog's name, you just go and look at the lot post their dog.
You're gonna find out their name really quick. So all the people that you know is when you're feeding your database, so you're adding in your dentist, your children, your coworkers, all those people. The rest of your feed comes from where? So you got now you've added everybody you know. How are we gonna continue to feed our database?
Conversation.
Asking for referrals.
Starts with an L and it ends with a generation.
Oh, lead generation.
All of those things are ways of living. That's how we're gonna add them. So prospecting is us actively seeking leads and marketing is passively seeking. So we have to build our database. We have to ask everyone that we know who they might know that could benefit from your service. Right? So we're asking, we've got our family, our friends, people in our association, people we have done business with. And we're going to come up with some ways to generate new repeat or referral business. So this is where we want to get right here, right? The repeat and referral business. Is there something in the chat that I need to read, or did we already pass that? Sorry, people online. Will you look, are you online there?
No, but Chris has been texting me most.
Sorry, I just noticed this was here. I think these are old. Oh, long-term right now, putting in some footwork. Okay, love it. Thanks you guys for staying engaged, by the way, on Zoom. I super appreciate it. So thanks for your comments in there. So your sphere will generate new business, repeat business, or referral business. Sometimes you might get referrals from people before you even get their own business from them, right? So everybody that you're thinking of or talking to, maybe so-and-so's not ready to buy something right now or sell something right now, but who else do they know that would be those people? So new business comes when obviously someone in your sphere is thinking of buying or selling and they think of you, right? That's the best way to get new business. Repeat business comes, and this is when it starts to get fun in your career. Repeat business comes when people trust you enough that they now start to do multiple transactions with you. And then when you've been in business long enough and you want to feel kind of old, then you're going to start selling homes to like their kids that you helped when they were buying a house. Their parents bought a house, now their kids are buying a house, right? Grandkids, generational. So you're going to start doing repeat and referral business. You're going to help people buy their first house, their upgrade house, their downgrade house. And you're going to help with all those, their first investments, right? So all of those things along the way are your repeat business. And then referral business comes from clients who use you or know of you and have referred you to other people in their sphere. So a big thing with referral business that I want to remind you about is when someone gives you a referral, this is another thing that you should have a system built around. How are you going to thank them for the referral? Because if someone sends you a referral and then you just, no matter how great of a job I do, let's say Allison refers Gidget to me, and no matter how great of a job, Gidget may now become my raving fan. But if I don't ever say anything to Allison, is Allison excited to send me someone else? She's wondering, like, did she help her? Did she not? I saw the Facebook post, so I know she closed, right? So think about what things happen along the way. So for me personally, whenever somebody sends me a referral, what do you think the first thing I do is? I'm going to call them. My gosh, Allison, it means so much to me that you would trust me with your family and friends. Thank you so much for the referral. And also remember that if people call you with the referral, if they say, hey, I've got a neighbor, and this is funny because people will call you and be like, I've got a neighbor, they're kind of crazy. I'm like, you know what? Crazy is my specialty. I love to help them, right? And honestly, like I let people know, like I want to help anybody and everybody. And if I can't help them, I know somebody in my office that can, that I can refer them to, right? So I'm going to always tell them, thank you so much for the referral. I don't wait until I talk to the person. I don't wait for anything else. The fact they thought about me right then is amazing. And if they say, is it okay if I give so-and-so your number? I'm like, yes, for sure. Do you know what would be even better though? Why don't you connect us through a text if they're a texter, or ask them if it's okay if you give them my information? Because what I found is a lot of times it's easier for me to call them versus them to call me. I call people all day, every day. Sometimes people are a little intimidated to call somebody else. So would you mind giving me their information and making sure it's okay for me to call them? Right? So I'm going to make a phone call, and then that day or the next day, I'm dropping a thank you card with some kind of a gift card in them. Now, this is where it comes in handy to know your database and have notes in there. So for example, if somebody sent me a coffee card, I mean, that's pretty generic because most people love coffee, but like I really love coffee. So if somebody sent me a coffee card as a thank you, I'm gonna be like, oh, I know they knew that I loved it. Or if they had kids and I sent them a gift card to go to get ice cream with their kids or whatever, right? So this is where those notes in your database are super helpful too, because you're gonna get to know things that they like, right? There's a specific type of candy. They love to go to the movies, whatever it is, think through those things and make that a personalized thank you. Then I always send something when the person goes under contract. And by the way, I let them know that I've contacted them. Or if I tried to contact them and they didn't answer, I would just send a quick text at this point if they're a texter. And again, remember, we communicate with people in the way they want to be communicated with. But if they're a texter, I'll just shoot a quick text. Hey, Allison, I just wanted to let you know that I did call Gidget tonight. I left her a message. I haven't heard back, but I'm going to keep you posted. Again, thank you so much for your referral. You have no idea how much it means to you. Right? So I'm going to send that quick little text off. Now she knows that I'm on top of it. She continues to be my raving fan. Now I'm going to connect. Once that person goes under contract, I'm going to send another gift. Now, remember, there's confidentiality agreements involved, right? So you've got to be careful with this. But if your client, and a lot of times I'll even just say like, hey, would you mind, like Allison connected us. And one of the things I love to do is always send them a gift to help celebrate you going under contract too. So would you be okay if I just let them know that you went under contract? Right? Make sure you ask that, because sometimes they may not want you to tell them, or sometimes they may want to tell them themselves, or sometimes it might just be a neighbor and they're going to be like, no, that's weird. Right? So if you don't want to do that, that's okay. I would still send a gift at that point and just say, I am enjoying so much working with Gidget. Thank you again. And this can be
Yes.
whatever you want it to be. It can be cookies. I have one person who refers me people pretty regularly, so I send her flowers. Like whatever it is, right? So something that you know they're gonna enjoy. Then, when it closes, I send another card of thank you. And again, this can have a gift in it. You can send a gift, it can have a gift card, it can be nothing at all but a thank you. It doesn't matter. Whatever your system is though, have a system and stick to it. Why? Because then we know everybody's gonna get the same level of service. Right? Because if one time Dakota sends me something and I forget to thank him, again, he's not gonna wanna thank me. But if he gets 3 different things from me throughout the referral process, anytime somebody's talking about real estate, do Dakota's ears like perk up a little bit? He's like, what? My friend Rusty sells real estate. Let me share her app with you, right? Because now he's like, ooh, Rusty sent me Starbucks. She sent me to the movies. And then she sent me a gift basket when it closed, right? Am I top of mind with Dakota anytime he sends me a referral? Yes, right? So make sure you have a system around it.
And then will each of those count as one of the 36 in the year?
For sure. Yeah, you totally can. Yep. And again, remember, like a lot of your touches are going to be automated. So you should have like a neighborhood nurture going out once a month. That's 12 touches a year, right? If you do 4 SOI events and you have 3 touches around each SOI event, that's another 12 touches. So that's 24 now. If you call them every quarter, that's 4 touches. So now you're at, what was I at 24? You're now at 28, right? So then that would be another one, right? So those little things, yes.
Okay.
And you're just going to build that in. Those would be in addition to, if you already have a 36 touch that you're touching them 36 times, no matter what,
Okay.
those would actually be additionals,
Okay.
which is even better, right? Because what happens when somebody, it's mind share, right? The more you see somebody, you're like, damn, Rusty's everywhere. I just got a card from her. Today I just got an email. Tomorrow I get a phone call. Then I saw her on social media, right? Like somebody from porch, she's popping by. I really do pop by. She's popping by. I'm like, hey, good morning. Here's coffee. Right? Nothing. Don't be creepy, guys. Keep professional. Referrals. Who might your sphere refer to you? Who are some of the people that are going to refer? I don't remember. Family, coworkers, friends, relatives, neighbors. Those are the kind of people that are going to get referred to you. You're going to ensure that how do you ensure that your sphere is going to refer to you? Remember what was the last thing that we talked about when Jessica was leaving? We have to ask for referrals, right? So we have to ask. We have to explain how to give them a referral. So the easier you make it for them, the easier it's going to be for them to refer them to somebody. So I do this a lot through my app. So when somebody's using my app, I show them, I'm like, hey, you've got my app. Let me show you really quick in case there's ever anybody that you think that would be a good fit for me or that you know is looking for real estate. If you just click on more, you're going to see it's going to pop up all my information. And if you just scroll a little bit and you click to share the app, share the KW app, and you can just text it to them and it sends them a link directly to me. So they'll be able to get in touch with me that way. Right? So now you're using your app, not just for them to look at homes, but for referrals and lead generation too. Right? But they don't know that unless you show them where to find that. Oh, by the way, are you ever curious? So then I'm showing just a couple cool things my app does. You ever want to know how much we were looking at, what was the house 1.8 million, but somebody didn't know what house on this weekend. We're like, yeah, that's the mortgage on a house at 1.8 million, right? Oh, do you ever want to see what the mortgage is going to be? Click on the mortgage calculator. It's right in my app, right? So I'm bringing them back to that, but explaining how to give you a referral. Hey, if there's ever anyone that you think of, family, friends, coworkers, the easiest way for me to get in touch with them is if you'll just text the 2 of us in a group text, because that's going to make them feel more comfortable that you trust me and then they can trust me too, right? Sharing how important it is for you. This is one thing that I will tell you, and I'm going to use that as a cautionary tale. Learn from some of my mistakes. So the more business that you do and the busier you get, if you're not really good at reminding people that you want their business and you want their referrals, what do sometimes people think?
That you're too busy.
That you're too busy for it. I don't want to bother you. If people are saying that to you a lot, you need to make sure you're reaching out better lines of communication to say like, and anytime someone, I'm never too busy for you. I'm never too busy for your referrals. Gosh, thank you so much for thinking of me. Please don't ever feel like you're bugging me. I want you to call me with your real estate questions, right? Like anything house related, you want them to think of you. That means if their pipe is if they burst a pipe or their sink is leaking, you want them to think of you because you're gonna have the best connection to a plumber. If they need new windows, you want them to think of you because you're gonna have the best connection to a window guy. right? So just keep that in mind. Anything house related, you want them to think of you. So the more that you stress that, like anything house related, I always want you to think of me. I'm never too busy for my clients. You guys give me life, right? So share how important it is to you, and then make sure you thank them by words or even a gift for the referral. Now, remember, there are some regulations in the state of Utah with your own clients. You can gift them whatever you want, it's your own business. With referrals, it really does have a 250,000. Wow, that's a great referral. It has a $250 cap for a gift. Okay, so just remember for that referral exchange, it's 250.
Could be cash, but no cash.
It could be cash, but here's what I would discourage. Me personally, I want to take advantage of every single tax write-off I can, and me giving them cash, I can't write that cash off. Right? So if you wanted to give them a $250 Visa gift card, you certainly could. Or if you knew that they had their eye on a new fire pit and it was $200, you could buy that and give it to them. Right? So that's the kind of stuff I would be thinking through is, is this something you can write off? Because if I can write it off, that's what I want to do. If I give them cold hard cash, which I have a joke, like nothing says I love you like cold hard cash. Like I say that to my nephews when they hit a certain age. I'm like, here's cash for your birthday. Nothing says I love you like cold hard cash, but I can't write cold hard cash off. So I want to give it in a gift card or some other way.
So now your nephews get like branded
Mhm.
t-shirts and stuff.
Nothing says I love you like your face on your t-shirt. And here's one. But you better start wearing that
As
now.
much as you can.
Wear it around. You're in college now. Your friends should be buying houses.
Give you 4 referrals, we give them 100 each time, or
Absolutely. Yeah, it's not over a lifetime. Yep. And again, I'm just gonna say, it doesn't have to, I don't know that I've ever sent out a thank you for a referral gift that's $250. Because I don't think it has to be that grand of a gesture. Like in my initial thank you card, like anytime I go somewhere like Jamba Juice or Starbucks or Swig or Crumble or whatever, I'll just buy like a stack of gift cards, $10, $5, whatever you want them to be. Because with agents that I work with too, I send them thank you cards at the end of it. So I'll just drop those in a card. You can go if you need to, or we have a time. Holy crap, we're out of time.
Sorry, I just have one.
Anybody can leave if you need to. I'm gonna wrap up with just a couple quick things if you want to. So share your app. Gosh, sorry.
He's bragging about talking fast.
I was talking fast, but man, there's a lot of info. Also testimonials and reviews. Make sure you get testimonials and reviews from your people. This is a great way to get continued referrals from them, and you can share it on social media. Also, if you are new to business, but you've worked with somebody in a different area, remember that you can still get referrals. So this can be like what they think of you, like trustworthiness, your responsiveness and attention to detail. Maybe you went and you said to somebody, hey, my thing for my coach today is that I've got to do a market analysis, right? Would it be okay if I spent some time putting together what I think your house is going to be worth? And then ask them to do a review for you. Hey, if you don't mind at the end of it, if you felt like I handled it professionally, would you mind giving me a quick review? So one thing I do want you to think about is write down 5 names, 5 people that you're going to ask for a testimonial or a review. And then after you do it, make sure you tell them thank you. So that's sending them a thank you card, gift, pop by, whatever you want that to be. I'm skipping most of this. Law 3, communicate with your database systematically. We've talked actually a lot about this. The one thing I want you to remember with how you're going to communicate with your database, this is your 36 touch, segment people. Think through ways you would want to filter people. These are some ideas. They're a VIP person. They're golfers, they're military, they're an investor, they're a referral, they're dog lovers, whatever it is. If you think through a way you would want to be able to filter your group of people. So if you were going to send out something about a new dog park and you have your people tagged that are dog lovers, you can quickly filter that and send something specific to those people. If you know your investors and you have your investors tagged specifically, not every home is going to be the right fit for a resale situation, and you have investors. Now you can quickly tag it and send your investors that property, right? So think through ways that you would want to filter your database and then go from there. So the other thing it's going to give you in this communication, it's going to give you a page to do this exercise for segments. I highly suggest you do this. The thing to remember with tags is make sure don't get too complicated. Just keep them like general enough that you could focus on a group of people. So Like if you have, like I did a VIP Mother's Day event a few years ago. So anybody in my database that was a mom, I had them tagged that way. So then I knew that was a quick way to filter. Father's Day, same thing, right? If I know they have kids, if I know they're a mom, whatever it is, if I know they love pizza, maybe I'm going to tag them as pizza lovers and I'm going to do something on pizza day. However, you're going to want to filter people, think that through. It's not set in stone, it's flexible. You can change it at any time. And then also remember that people might be in different segments. So maybe this person's VIP, they golf and they're military. You can have as many tags on somebody as you want. And then just, I would say pay attention, because if you're not using tags, then it probably isn't necessary, right? Like if you're not using, if you only have one person that's a dog lover, number one, you need to get new friends. And then number two, it probably doesn't warrant its own filter, right? Because if you only have one friend that's a dog lover, you're probably going to remember they're a dog lover. And another way, client, past client, VIP, referral client, if there's specific hobbies that they like, right? So if they're hikers and you're going to do a hike once a month in the summer, tag them that way. It's a quick, easy way to filter it versus sending them out to everybody. Another way that I do it is I tag my people A+, A, B, and C. My A+ clients, they have done business with me and referred business to me, or multiple on either side. An A client they've done business with me, but no referrals, and it's been one time. A B client, they've given me a referral, but they haven't done multiple referrals. And then C, they haven't yet, but they will. So I'm confident enough, I have a strong enough relationship with that at some point I will do business or they will refer. This is where those tags can change, right? Because if I have somebody classified as C and now all of a sudden they've given me business, they now become an A client, right? This is where, so you're communicating with them. You can do the same newsletter to everybody, but then you're gonna have customized messages, right? So if you have a large community of golfers, you could maybe send them, you know, whatever, a discount code to a golf course, or here's the golf courses that are open right now, or here's golf courses that are open the longest, whatever that is. Also, if you're going to do something, you could filter them that way and send golf balls to them if you're big on gifts and that's what you'd like to do. So make sure that you're segmenting people, relative likes, dislikes, interest. Trying to think if there's anything else really important in that. Always, if you can, have a call to action, and always make sure in every communication with them, it tells the person receiving the message how to contact you. So if that's, you like them to follow you on social media, make sure you have your social media stuff that they can just quickly click and contact you. Your email should be there, your phone number should be there, every way that they have to contact you should know. And then make sure that you help the clients. Your message should match the market. So make sure that you choose to contact you in the current market. Why would they choose to contact Dakota in today's market? And what are they going to get if they do? So this goes back to your unique value proposition. That was a class a few classes ago. This is like, why would they reach out to you? And that needs to be portrayed in that message. So again, if you're going to try to go into specific groups, your investor probably doesn't care. Like one of the things I do, because nearly 100% of my business is repeat and referral business at this point, I send out a monthly SOI newsletter that is not always, it's got something about real estate in it, but it's more like, what class did I take? What have I been doing with my family? Who had a birthday this month? What was the fun vacation I went on? Because I've built relationships. My investors don't give a crap about that. So I'm not going to send that to my investors, but you know what I am going to send them is my lore, the language of real estate newsletter that I send out, because that is specific to real estate and what's happening. Your investors are going to want that, right? So just make sure your messaging has a method and a way to be communicated with. Communicate with value. We're going to dig deeper in some upcoming classes, but this just gives you an idea of 19 to connect and 36 to convert with your lead. So you need 19 touches to connect a lead. That's right there. Cementing the appointment, having a high value touch, and then your contact should all be getting 36 touches to convert. This is in your book, I believe. Yep, it is. Page 6. Database, smart database, data bank. So contacts, make sure you're using command, mobile, and then putting them in command or whatever CRM you're using. So if you don't have a CRM yet and you're not going to use command, or if you have a different CRM, just make sure that you're using it, okay? Some of the items of value: market stats, seasonal checklists, real estate forecasting, schedule of local events and festivities. This is a great time of year to start reaching out to people. If you guys are not sure how to reach people, hey, you live in Centerville.
I live in Farmington.
You live in Farmington. I have a list of all the fun things going on in Farmington over the summer. Could I send you a list of those things? Right? Like just those little conversations. What can you provide a value? Another thing to remember on this is your preferred vendor lists. And also if you connect with some of those vendors, like say that you have a friend, the HVAC guy, and he's willing to give all of your clients $15 off their next service. Send those things out. Those are things of value. So again, these are really easy touches to call and connect with people because you're just giving them something of value. Quarterly call plans are huge. Please don't forget about those. Your job is to build a community and then serve the community. That is your job. Law number 4 is service all leads. So plan for a lead follow-up program, leverage every single opportunity. This is where you're going to have those, your opportunities, campaigns, and consumer. So your consumer is your app and your website. Campaigns or social media campaigns or email campaigns or marketing campaigns that you're going to mail out. And then opportunities, this is your opportunity pipeline. You'll go through that in command later.
In the recap email, I have Kylie's Calendly link in there, so you guys can schedule appointments with her to go over the tech more in depth too.
Love it. Don't quit too soon on your database. This is one thing, is it does take time to yield results. And I think a lot of times people newer in the business, they get frustrated because they feel like they're doing all the activities, they're doing all the right things, and they're not getting any business from it. Jessica that left earlier, if you talk to Jessica very much had a slow, and now it's gone like this, the hockey stick approach, right? Like you've got a slow growth. And then once you really get the people and you start to they see you're going to bring value, that's going to grow. So don't give up too soon. 36 touch campaign takes time to yield results. Think of it as long-term, always come from care and service, and real estate business is relationship. I cannot stress that enough. So we're going to skip through this. I just want you to think through, how's your thinking changed? What do you feel differently? What actions are you going to take? And what tools are you going to use to implement them? This was the daily success system that I was talking about. So if you want to be successful in real estate, every single day you should be having X amount of 10 conversations. So this is you keeping track. If you had 10 conversations in real estate 5 days a week, that's 50 conversations. How many contacts are you adding to your database? You should have a goal of 10 a day, right? Especially while you're building. How many handwritten notes? Now, this is something where everyone's always like, I don't know what to write, or I don't want to write a handwritten note. I'm going to let you exchange it, but I think it's an easy way out. I'd let you exchange that with like a text, but something that's typed out or written. But a handwritten note can be as simple as, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today and trusting me enough to give me your email. It really meant a lot to me. Whatever, right? I send cards all the time that are just like, hey, thinking of you, hope you have a great day. And I have like a big yellow smiley sticker on it, right? But it feels good to get something in your mail that's not a bill, right? Also, I forget to check my mail for about, let's say I have an Amazon package that gets delivered to my actual mailbox. So I'll go to get it out and it's like shoved in there. And like the first thing I do is I'm like pulling out anything that looks like personalized. And then your 10-5-1 social media engagement is 10. This is a little different than Rachel Adams Lee, but this one's 10 likes, 5 comments, 1 direct message. Rachel Adams Lee has one called the 555. 5 minutes before she posts, she has 5 people that she engages with 5 words or more, and then you're going to pop up in those people. And if you really want to be successful at that, target 25 people a week. So pull up your Facebook or your Instagram or your Twitter or whatever you're on and find those people that you have not communicated with recently, because you're probably not seeing their stuff, which means they're not seeing yours.
How about messaging, not messaging as in typing, but face messaging, video, like what?
Oh, like a video text?
Like, not a text.
FaceTime.
Thank you. Oh,
Okay, so I love everybody else's input on this, because I'll tell you, thanks, Carrie. Good luck with your test tomorrow. Call us when you pass.
we're so excited.
Everybody send her the good vibe. Okay. I personally, I'm gonna be weirded out if somebody FaceTimes me that doesn't normally FaceTime me.
I would say you have.
I'm
to
not
be
gonna lie. You've got to have a
extremely close
relationship
to
with them to
yeah.
do that.
Like family members.
Like my sister can FaceTime me and I'm gonna answer it if I'm in my bed or I just got in the shower or whatever, right? I'm gonna answer anytime.
Yeah.
If my Facebook, like if somebody starts FaceTiming me and Dakota, I love Dakota.
I'm a FaceTime
But if,
tomorrow.
but if Dakota FaceTimes me tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, oh, what's going on?
And then when she doesn't answer, I'm gonna say, I told you I was gonna do it.
That point, I'd probably be like, oh, he's got something weird to show me in the house, right? So out of curiosity, I'd answer. But I think you have to have Does Mikhail FaceTime everybody?
I had never met him. I answered a call, a text on his Facebook for an
Yeah.
open house.
Okay,
And he texted me back and he said, give me a call. And I said, okay. And I FaceTimed him
oh,
and it went well.
But he knew you were gonna be reaching out to him about.
Yeah.
the open house.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if,
I think it's whatever your personality you think and what you think the other person on the other.
Right.
end
Use
is
your
receiving.
best judgment.
Use your best judgment. Jalen, if I FaceTime you tomorrow, would you be weirded out if all of a sudden you just got a phone number with a FaceTime message popping up?
Probably have to be someone that I know. pretty
No,
well.
really well, right?
I feel like if I FaceTime you, that's.
Maybe,
Depends on what I'm doing.
right? And I think there is a difference, right? So like client, for example, like, let's say that you know somebody who's obsessed with like waterfalls in their yard. I don't know, that was random, or pool in their yard. You may want to, but you know what I would do first is I'd send them a quick text and say, Allison, you have to see this yard. I know how obsessed you are with pools with water slides. You're gonna die when you see it. Can I FaceTime you really quick? Then I'm gonna FaceTime her. To me, the FaceTime feels a little invasive if you
Okay.
don't know people that well.
sure.
That's just me personally. Do you have a different opinion?
I FaceTime all the time, but I don't.
But is it people that you know?
Yeah, but like, it's like my core, like.
It's your
friend
core group.
Yeah, we.
You're not gonna FaceTime a client unless
You've
they
never-
know.
I
that
think they
it's coming.
FaceTimed me there in coaching the other day. I was, I can't answer right now. Just
Yeah.
because that's normal, like what my friends always do.
Right,
instead of
for sure.
phone.
Like every
But
time I
don't
talk to my
think
son, I
when I'm
FaceTime.
Prospecting, I'm not FaceTime.
Yeah, like if it's a coworker that you worked with 5 years ago that you were really good friends with, even though you were really good friends with them at the time, 5 years has gone by, you've been friends on Facebook or whatever. If you FaceTime them, they're probably gonna be like, what the heck, why,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I haven't seen or worked with you, or,
They're gonna think it was like a butt dial.
yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, that, just a curiosity.
Yeah, and, yeah, I mean, I think just use your judgment. If you feel like you've got that level of relationship with somebody, for sure. Or again, FaceTime's great if there's something you need to show them. A lot of times people are coming from out of town or whatever, so you can FaceTime or Skype them, but that's, again, they're gonna know you're not just calling to catch up on a quarterly call and FaceTiming.
Right.
I
wouldn't
think you
do it for
could,
prospecting,
though.
but
I
you
do
could,
think
if you have a
could say,
relationship.
I think you could say, hey, Rusty, I want to meet with you and just go over the market. Do you have time to FaceTime today at 2 o'clock and just like schedule it with them?
Because then it's like a Zoom meeting.
Yeah.
almost.
Yeah.
Or if you do have clients that you're working with, let's say you have multiple buyers that you're working with and you're going through, I don't know, let's say you're going through a couple houses and you found something that this buyer doesn't like at all, but maybe this buyer would, you could say, hey, send them a text, say, hey, I would love to FaceTime you really quick. I want to show you this feature in this house that I just looked at that I thought you'd like.
Also,
Yeah, maybe that would
for all you Android users.
Facebook has, guys.
Yeah. So the funny thing about, so my husband's an Android user too, and my kids are always like, you're in our group text, Dad. But my sister, for years, I've been trying to tell Dolly, my sister's one of my best friends. And I'm like, damn iPhone, I want to be able to FaceTime you. But she'd be like trying to FaceTime me from her iPad. So then one day she's like, oh my gosh, you're not gonna believe where I am. And I said, where are you? And she goes, I'm in the Verizon parking lot. And I said, oh, are you getting a new phone? She goes, yes, I'm getting an iPhone. And she's pissed about it. And I said, oh, finally, what made you decide? And she goes, Shane, her freaking grandbaby Shane. She goes, Shane called me and he said, Nana, I want to FaceTime you right now. And so she freaking, that next day.
But
we got a
Android has an app too.
You can
for
FaceTime,
mobile.
I can FaceTime, video call people with iPhones.
Okay.
I only know it because my buddy has an iPhone.
And he
I've only-
FaceTimes you.
I've only FaceTimed less than a dozen times in my whole life.
Like
Video
Messenger.
chats,
Yeah.
the whole thing, less than a dozen.
Guys, I'm not saying there's not ways around it. I'm just saying. Anyway, we got in a little tangent. Yes, I think
They were recording.
be cautious. We should stop recording anytime, but be cautious of the FaceTime relationship. Because it might feel invasive to some people.
Also, before we stop recording.
Also, please though, when you're making your calls, do it in a TCPA friendly compliant way. Why? Because you will get sued and we're not gonna pay your lawsuit. So it's gonna be on you. E&O is not gonna cover this. So do not call people unless your lists are scrubbed or unless you have their permission to contact you. Okay, and
So
by the
we're-
way, I would, if it's somebody, let's say that I would make sure you have somewhere, either in text or writing, if they are on the do not call list. But they asked you to contact them, that's different because you're gonna have proof that they've asked you to contact them. So make your calls in a TCPA friendly compliant way.
And
Does that count for text messages as well?
Yes.